The mood in today's gospel might be described as gloomy. How are we to find hope in the Advent season, hope in preparing for the Lord, amidst Jesus' description of frightening signs and tribulations? We might begin by acknowledging that such signs and tribulations need not be only about the end of the world. Darkness at a personal level is still darkness. We might therefore reframe the question: how do we prepare for the Lord, for the coming of the Lord, in the midst of our own personal troubles, be it in our families, friend networks, or our own lives? How do we encounter hope in the darkness of our world? Consider these words, written by the American author Anne Lamott after a dear friend of hers died of cancer. She writes, "I remind myself nearly every day of something that a doctor told me 6 months before my friend died. This was a doctor who always gave me straight answers. When I called on this one particular night, I was hoping the doctor could put a positive slant on some distressing developments. She couldn't, but she said something that changed my life. 'Watch your friend carefully now,' she said, 'because she's teaching you how to live.'" When Jesus describes the darkness of the world, he's not inviting you to despair or to ponder how to avoid the challenges of life. We get enough of that as it is in our culture. He's teaching you how to live. We know this because when we contemplate how fleeting life is, we're inspired to do better, to live better. Youth culture casts this desire in anxious terms. FOMO, fear of missing out. But this attempt at maximizing one's experiences mistakes novelty for meaning, stimulation for purpose, career development for character development. You can travel the world. You can hone your body and your mind. You can even receive a degree from a great university like Notre Dame. But these attempts at living cannot match the humility and wisdom you gain by walking, if only for a little, with someone who bears a heavier cross than yours. In teaching us to live better, Jesus provides clear instructions. Do not become drowsy. Do not give in to carousing, drunkenness, the anxieties of life. If that's not blunt enough for you, let's put it even more bluntly. We don't have much time on this earth. Don't waste what little we do have on things that don't matter. The problem, of course, is that we often waste time on things that don't matter. Who among us has not seen a half hour disappear while scrolling social media or watching mindless television at night? These minutes turned into hours, turned into days, months, years. This is what makes up a life. And we all know that there are better ways to exist in this world. So what do we do? If I might return to Anne Lamott's reflection on her dying friend, one solution, a solution that she holds forth, and Jesus as well, is to draw close to those who suffer, to find in their lives a truth about our lives as well. Regarding her own struggles to live attentively, Lamott writes, I remind myself of this when I cannot get any work done, to live as if I am dying, because the truth is we are all terminal on this bus. To live as if we are dying gives us a chance to experience some real presence. This real presence is one way of describing the divine presence. And this divine presence appears in the gospel today as the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. What seems pronounced in this description is the grandiosity of the arrival. How could one miss it? But we already know the answer to the question. Just by giving in to the anxieties of life, of being spiritually, morally, emotionally drowsy, is enough to blind one's vision. God's presence is awesome. It can change a life. It can change the world. But it can also pass in the flicker of an eye, which is something that can also be said of our own lives. How then do we prepare for the coming of the Lord? Coming that is both momentous, yet muted, powerful, yet subtle. We must look to those who reflect or bear the marks of our society's fear and darkness, by which I mean the people we typically try to ignore, lest we be robbed of our own peace of mind. I speak of the elderly, the abandoned, the poor, those with political views different than our own, the unborn, the lost. These people are not hard to find. Right now, you can probably think of at least one name. Walk with these people who seem to threaten the peace of mind and the aspirations you hold dear. Take their stories, hopes, dreams, and disappointments seriously. Help them to live better, and in doing so, we might learn how to live better, live as if we were dying. And in this shared journey, we can come to realize that we are all God's children. In finding this common kinship, we locate the sparks of God's real presence in our lives and in our world. And in turning toward and recognizing the darkness that clothes the lives of so many, we can find better ways to see God's light, God's love and majesty in our world.